also, I'm sorry, he implemented data domain, forgive me, and in his environment in Ohio. And
I'm Jules, Express. We're an LTL company based out of Pittsburgh. We're a shipping company that can pretty much ship to anywhere in the North American continent. And we're also expanding to ground services. And once we get rid of two very small competitors, UPS and FedEx, we'll be in a much better position. So when I started Express, they had a somewhat subpar backup strategy. And part of my job was to re-architect it and try to make it more efficient and more usable, because it was fairly a nightmare to get a restore ticket and hope that the restore is going to work, the tape's going to be on site, and if the tape is on site, it's actually going to restore. So one of the first objectives was to replace the software we were utilizing, and since we were going towards a more virtual environment, we decided to go with NetBackup at the time because it had more VCP capabilities. And even though VCP has some level of bad reputation, it did a great job for us. So that was the first stage. Then next, we knew we wanted to do disk-to-disk backups. Now, if anybody knows about disk-to-disk backups, you're not going to get any type of retention time unless you have massive amounts of storage, unless you're doing deduplication. So we knew we wanted to do disk-to-disk, and we knew needed deduplication. So after doing many months of research, again, data domain was the choice for us, for the technology, for the efficiency, for the true inline capabilities, and we decided to go with data domain so we can have full disk-to-disk backups and start trying to get to a point of going tapeless. Now, this whole process took about a year, and our goal was to go virtual, so we decided to upgrade our hardware on the network side and on the server side, and then go into 10 gigabit Ethernet. And that's why we can tell some of the stories that I have once we went with data domain. And we're at the point now that say we have a server that needs backed up. It roughly can take about 5 minutes for a standard server, and that server is backed up with full image capabilities. That's your standard 10 to 15 gig servers. Of course, if you have a SQL server, it's a couple hundred gigs, so it takes some time. But the ability to back up a full image of a server and then have the ability to restore it back without any interaction with the DBA or any interaction with an application owner, because it's a full image, was our primary goal. And also that our primary goal was to go tapeless, so adding the second EMC data domain device allowed us to get to a point of going tapeless and replicating that off-site.
now, because it's deduplicated, you're actually not creating an entire backup, because what you backed up yesterday was already held within the data domain device. And actually, what you backed up is only change data on the target device.
Correct. Yeah, so I'll give you a good example. We have a data store that it's about 700 gigabytes of data. There's tens of millions of files. Now, this normally takes 6 days to back up because it's taking all those individual files. Well, having the ability to integrate VMware capabilities and data domain and NetBackup 7, we were able to take that 6-day backup down to 2 hours and 9 minutes by utilizing an encapsulated VMDK and doing a full VMDK backup that's unmapped directly to the EMC data domain. And what that gives us is full backups daily. Even though it's 700 gigs, you're not taking up 700 gigs of space each time. You're only taking up the difference that you have prior to that day. So taking full advantage of deduplication and virtual machines is our main goal.
So how about the restore?
Restore, same thing. So you almost see roughly the same amount of time on a restore. If it takes roughly 5 minutes or 7 minutes to back up a standard 10, 15 gig server, it takes about that same amount of time to restore it. And again, the VM just thinks it was powered off and you powered it back on and you're good to go.
Just have that kind of peace of mind, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, when I get a restore ticket now, I'll give you another real quick story. Having all this tied in together gives us, and having the remote capabilities that we have, we can do any of these type of disasters from at home. So, for example, a couple of months ago, our BES administrator, Justin Brooks, had to do a major BES upgrade. and he decided to do this upgrade on off hours on Saturday. I'm at home on my couch. I'm on my Cisco soft phone. He's on his Cisco soft phone. We're talking. I said, okay, let me back this up first to our main device. And I know with vCenter you can do a snapshot, but I'm not a big fan of snapshots, but people forget about them, and then they grow and grow, and people end up starting to have data store issues. So I'd rather just do a backup since it only takes 5 minutes. I do a backup, we'll both be consoling in, I'm watching what he's doing, make sure there's no issues, does the upgrade, we're good to go. If it was a disaster, it'll just take 5 minutes to restore. We'll be up and running.
And did that upgrade go smoothly?
It went smoothly. Now, alongside with that, we are trying to get to a point of 90-95% virtualization. So this means all of our SQL servers are virtual. And with having it virtual, obviously it's on a shared storage in our SAN fabric. Well, we were running into a little bit of an issue that we decided, okay, we really got to separate the I.O. of our environment and take all of our VMs that are SQL related and all of our other VMs and separate them off their own array. So right now we are an HP shop, but we started doing the research, and again, just like the domain, we don't just automatically go to the vendor we currently have. We look for the best of the product. And EMC now, with that fast technology, their EFDs, gave us the capability to offload our SQL environment and put it on a CX4120 and utilize fast technology and EFD. So if we have a SQL server that requires more I/O, Fast is going to give it the EFD capabilities, and then when it slows down, we can have it take off that expensive disk and go back to 15K FCs. So we're doing a lot of nice changes.
Fast cache on that array.
Fast cache for standard VMs, and then we actually have some dedicated EFDs for array group.
Are you starting to leverage the power of shared storage as well?
We're still working on it. We're still trying to migrate everything over, but that's a fairly new adventure, but it's all in place and ready to be rolled out.
So let me ask you, completely take the 10 probably
Again, I would say probably within a month it will be gone. We're just trying to confirm some things, and since we are doing 1 to 7 years of retention time on site, there's no reason for us to have to make it. And since everything's getting replicated off-site to our second device, we have our off-site disaster recovery. Yep, very awesome.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right. Are you going to be available, by the way, for any
Yeah,
questions?
if anybody has any questions, sure, I'll be standing by and come up.